This guy's name is Seon. His mother passed away 2 years ago, but his father didn't care about and spent all day dating his mistress. To get revenge on father, Seon vowed to seduce all the women close to his father. He would use his charm to charm the other person, then abandon them without mercy. For example, this beautiful young girl, just because she smiled too happily while having dinner with Sehyun's father, she became the target of his revenge. She was seduced and then quickly abandoned. The girl was infatuated with Sehyun. Even when Sehyun unilaterally said goodbye, she was willing to wait. Sehyun had 2 best friends at school. One was Choi Soo-ji, the student council president, and was the daughter of a famous corporation. Choi Soo-ji had a prominent family background, but she also had an unhappy family. Her father intended to leave this world because not only did his career go bankrupt, he was also divorced and imprisoned. Soo-ji thought that all of this was caused by her mother, so she and her mother did not love each other. Another close friend of Sehyun's is named Lee Se-ju. He also comes from a rich family but is uneducated and incompetent. He is a famous playboy in the financial world. The 3 of them have a very good relationship. If anyone is bullied, the other 2 will immediately find a way to help that person vent their anger. For example, at school, a classmate intentionally mentioned Sehyun's deceased mother in a sarcastic tone. Soo-ji threw the trash can straight at the classmate's head. In addition, hugging or kissing on the cheek, even sucking on the same lollipop, are all normal behaviors between them. Especially when Soo-ji is sad, the hand-holding of the 2 handsome friends makes the feeling of being comforted increase many times. The 3 of them graduated from high school very quickly. At the graduation ceremony, a female student was intentionally molested by the homeroom teacher. Soo-ji bravely rushed to the rescue and also said that if the homeroom teacher needed a DNA test for his unborn child, he could secretly go to her family hospital. Soo-ji made the homeroom teacher extremely angry. Here Soo-ji met the art teacher who taught her before. It turned out that at that time, Soo-ji really liked this art teacher. She even boldly confessed her love. But unfortunately, when this love was about to succeed, Soo-ji's mother found out and prevented the 2 from getting together. After that, the art teacher said cruel words to Soo-ji. The teacher told her to study properly. At such a young age, she was always thinking of ways to flirt with adults. These words deeply hurt Soo-ji's heart, which made Soo-ji always have a grudge against that teacher. Unexpectedly, when she found out that the literature teacher and the art teacher were about to get married, but the literature teacher was having an affair with the homeroom teacher, Soo-ji planned to use this to get revenge on the art teacher. First, she secretly installed a camera on the homeroom teacher's car to record a video of him and the literature teacher hugging in the car. Then, with the help of Sehyun and Se-ju, the video was played in front of everyone at the graduation ceremony. Everyone present was shocked when they saw the video, and the art teacher was even more shocked. Although she successfully took revenge on those who hurt her, Soo-ji did not feel any happier. According to Soo-ji, the most powerful revenge is to take away the most precious thing from the other person. Those who have lost something precious will find a way to take revenge. At this time, the girl who Soo-ji helped at the ceremony ran over. It turned out that her name was Kyung-ju. Kyung-ju said that she admired the 3 of them, so she wanted to take a photo together. Dating audience of Soo-ji was Gi-young was driving to the school gate to pick her up. In front of the person she liked, Soo-ji immediately became a gentle lady, even dressing carefully to go to a party with him. At the party, Gi-young's friends ridiculed the relationship between the 2. Soo-ji was about to publicly announce that the 2 were dating when Gi-young pulled her aside. He told Soo-ji that the relationship between the 2 was just that of brother and sister. The reason he met Soo-ji was because of her mother. He asked Soo-ji to stop talking nonsense, to be more realistic in the future, and not to always think about climbing high. After all, Soo-ji's family's financial resources and reputation were not worthy of his family. Seeing that the other party wanted to cut ties with her, Soo-ji angrily left. On the other side, Sehyun and Se-ju went to a bar to play and accidentally met a beautiful older sister. Sehyun ran over to talk and used all his charm. After a while, the 2 kissed like real lovers. But who would have thought that this beautiful older sister was Kyung-ju's mother and was also a very famous model before? Sehyun returned home. His father took the DNA test report and said that he was not biological son, and even kicked Sehyun out of the house. The father wanted Sehyun to live quietly and not cause him any trouble. If Sehyun had any doubts, he should ask his deceased mother. Sehyun left with the DNA test report. Sehyun wandered aimlessly on the streets. While waiting for the bus, Sehyun remembered that his mother once told him that if he had any worries or fears, he should turn them into airplanes and throw them them into the sky so that the worries or fears would disappear. So Sihyun folded the test report into a paper airplane and threw it out, but the paper airplane fell on Taehee's feet. Taehee picked it up and wanted to return it to Sihyun, but Sihyun told her to keep it and help him throw it away. On the bus, Sihyun remembered his deceased mother and cried. Taehee, who was also on the same bus, fell asleep and kept hitting her head on the window. Sihyun was sad, but when he saw this scene, he burst out laughing. Taehee dropped the card when she got off the bus. Sihyun picked it up and saw that it was an invitation to a ceramic exhibition. On the day of the Myeongjong group's ceremony, Gi-young accidentally met Taehee's first love. In front of Taehee, Gi-young was both gentle and elegant, very different from his attitude towards Suji. Taehee was not only beautiful, but also a good student. She received a scholarship from the Myeongjong Foundation. So today, Taehee came here to receive the award. Suji was jealous of Gi-young's attitude towards Taehee, so she decided to take revenge on Gi-young. Suji went to find Sihyun and asked him to seduce Taehee and then abandon her, but Sihyun didn't want to hurt innocent people, so he refused Suji's request. The two of them parted ways unhappily. Sihyun accidentally met Kyungju's mother at a party, and Kyungju's mother later found out that he was her daughter's classmate. So Kyungju's mother asked Sihyun not to tell anyone what happened that day at the bar. It turned out that Kyungju wasn't her biological daughter, and outsiders didn't know about this, so everyone always criticized Kyungju's appearance as not being as beautiful as her mother's. Because of this, the relationship between the two has always been bad. If Kyungju knew that her mother was intimate with her classmate, it would definitely not be good. She would even run away from home. Sihyun agreed with Kyungju's mother. Taehee left the scene after receiving the scholarship. Seeing Kyungju's mother and Sihyun talking outside, Taehee and Kyungju are good friends. When the three of them returned to the banquet hall, Sihyun's father and Suji's mother announced that they were getting married. Sihyun and Suji were both shocked. On the other side, after receiving the award, Taehee went to see her mother's ceramic exhibition. She told her mother that she had received a full scholarship for 4 years of university, so her mother would no longer have to worry about her financial support. Taehee's mother said that it was wrong for a mother to spend money on daughter. Taehee angrily questioned her mother why you had to divorce my father and had ignored them for so many years. Now that she's grown up, let each person live their own life. After saying that Taehee left, Sihyun angrily drove Seju's car away. Taehee was sadly wandering on the road, almost getting hit by Sihyun. Sihyun got out of the car to check the situation. Taehee was scared and grabbed his pants and said, "Don't go." Memories of the past flashed through her mind. Then Taehee calmed down. Sihyun just told Taehee his number so that it would be convenient to compensate later. As a result, Sihyun received a call from Seju to inform Suji that something had happened. Sihyun didn't care about the wound on her head and immediately ran there, leaving Taehee with an injured knee to struggle home alone. Only then did Taehee react. She had seen Kyungju's photos posted online, and Sihyun was one of them. It turned out that after hearing the news of her mother's remarriage, Suji was very agitated. She angrily grabbed a piece of glass and wanted to leave this world by her own. Fortunately, Sihyun arrived in time and calmed Suji down. He held Suji's hand and stayed by her side. Seju watched the two of them hold hands and hug each other, feeling very sad. After Sihyun's grandmother heard that her son was getting married, she told her son that she agreed to this marriage for one reason only, which was to marry to save the company. Suji's mother could bring more benefits to the company, and she also said that the company would eventually have to be handed over to Sihyun in the future. Seju was beaten by his grandfather for lending her car without permission. Although Seju was born into a wealthy family, many generations lived in the same house, so everyone was on the same page but not in their hearts. They always fought secretly, and Seju's status at home was not high. Because he lent his car without permission, he was grounded by his grandfather. Luckily, his sister-in-law helped Seju sneak out to find Sihyun and Suji. The three of them gathered together and complained about the commercial marriage of Sihyun's father and Suji's mother. They wanted to try everything possible to stop this marriage. Sihyun suggested that he marry Suji first. Although it seemed like a transaction deal, Sihyun had actually started liking Suji a long time ago. But children who grew up in a family without love have seen too many conspiracies and mutual exploitation. They have too many powerless things, like not being able to decide their own marriage and future. Suji was affected by her parents' marriage, so she could no longer trust anyone. Suji told Sihyun that if he wanted her to believe him, he should seduce Taehee first, and make Taehee like him a lot, and then abandon Taehee. In order to make Suji believe in him, Sihyun agreed to this request. The three of them investigated understood Taehee's background clearly. Then it was Seon's turn to act. Seon dresses up confidently and goes into battle, feeling that he will be successful. Unfortunately, Taehee and Kyungju were best friends, so the address on the card that Taehee dropped that day was Kyungju's home address. Sehyun brought flowers to find Taehee, but when he got there, the person who opened the door was Kyungju's mother. Kyungju's mother thought that Sehyun came here specifically to give her flowers, so she was both happy and scared. So Kyungju's mother told Sehyun to leave quickly and not let anyone else see. As a result, he accidentally met Taehee and Kyungju returning home. The story between Kyungju's mother and Sehyun at the bar earlier had spread everywhere. Kyungju thought that Sehyun was clinging to her mother, so she sat on the ground and cried. Sehyun was so embarrassed that he could only run away. Taehee always thought that Kyungju had feelings for Sehyun. Seeing this scene today, Taehee had an even worse impression of Sehyun. To reassure her best friend, Taehee decided that she would never have anything to do with Sehyun again. The next day, Sehyun went to find Taehee again. For example, he stood posing by the bus stop where Taehee was waiting, which resulted in Taehee giving him a contemptuous look. On the bus, Sehyun took advantage of the shaking of the bus to hug Taehee. In the end, Taehee didn't care at all, and he was even laughed at by the other people in the bus. Sehyun even hired someone to pretend to be a pervert to molest her while Taehee was standing. Then Sehyun would play the hero to save the beauty. But unfortunately, Taehee was not someone who was easily bullied. She loudly cursed the pervert. She also exposed Sehyun for hiring this pervert. Sehyun's pursuit did not seem to go smoothly. He approached Taehee and said that today was the third time the two of them met. The first time they met was also on the bus. Only then did Taehee remember that Sehyun was the guy who threw the paper plane that day. The three of them gathered in one place to discuss how to win Taehee over. Suji heard from Kyungju that if a guy waited for Taehee on the route she often took, this person would not be at peace with her. And if that guy waited downstairs all night and refused to leave, Taehee would call the police to arrest him because in Taehee's opinion, she doesn't need love. After the three of them discussed, they decided to change the next meeting place. It was at the National Library because Sehyun was sure that if they met by chance many times, the other person would think that this was fate. They even imagined a scene where the two of them had a romantic and intimate interaction. But on the day of the meeting, everything was completely different from what they expected. It turned out that Taehee was busy at the library, so she didn't have time to talk to him. Then, Sehyun fell asleep in the library, depressed. Seeing that Taehee had no choice but to wake Sehyun up and ask him why he came to find her. Hearing Taehee's stomach growling with hunger, Sehyun took the opportunity to invite her to eat with him. During the meal, he sincerely expressed his intention that he came here specifically to meet Taehee. He also taught Taehee how to eat mackerel more conveniently. The familiar scene reminded Taehee of her father, but she didn't take the bait. She said that she had heard a lot of rumors about Sehyun, so she didn't want to be friends with someone who liked to play with people's hearts. Taehee told Sehyun not to come looking for her anymore. On the other side, Suji's revenge on Gi-young was also in progress. It turned out that Ji-young wanted to get to know Hye-jung, who was also a daughter of a tycoon, so that the two families could marry. Suji started to get close to Hye-jung. Hye-jung was a pure and cute girl. The room was filled with pink dolls and things. Her pet was a turtle. It was obvious that Hye-jung had no talent for playing the cello, but her mother forced her to learn. Hye-jung always felt miserable. The two girls chatted in the room. Gi-young gave Hye-jung a cake and a card. Suji read the words on the card and found it funny. Then she pulled Hye-jung over to take a photo together. She must be better than Hye-jung. Unexpectedly, Gi-young also gave Taehee a cake and also included a card. Taehee was in no mood to enjoy it at all. She was blaming herself for what she said to Sehyun this morning was a bit too much. But in order not to upset her best friend Kyungju, Taehee decided to return the paper plane to Sehyun. Then they ended their relationship decisively. Although Taehee always misunderstood that Kyungju liked Sehyun, in reality, Kyungju liked Seju. In order to get more secrets about Taehee from Kyungju, Suji became her matchmaker. Seju could only approach Kyungju. Kyungju happily wanted to become more beautiful in the eyes of her lover. So she asked Taehee to go get her hair done with her, and excitedly said that when she had a lover, she wouldn't have time to be with Taehee anymore. So she wanted Taehee to find a boyfriend as soon as possible. Taehee, on the other hand, said she didn't need a boyfriend. Kyungju talked about the rumor that Sehyun and Suji were about to become siblings, and also mentioned Sehyun's family. At the same time, she also helped prove that he was not a womanizer as rumored. He was only gentle with the girl he liked. In order to pursue Taehee, the three of them made a plan. This weekend, Sehyun will go to the nursing home with Taehee to do volunteer work. Sehyun appeared on time in front of Taehee. He also complimented her new hairstyle as very cute. He even said he missed her without embarrassment. That sentence made made Tae-hee a little moved. Tae-hee was warmly welcomed by everyone. She was surrounded by old people. They sang and danced together, while poor Sehyun could only stay outside to mop the floor and move cabbages. Unable to bear it, he called Seju and said he was about to lose it. But unfortunately, Suji heartlessly hung up. Sehyun was working when he met an old lady with Alzheimer's. The old lady mistook Sehyun for her deceased husband. The old lady even held Sehyun's hand and asked him to draw peach blossoms for her. Sehyun did as the old lady asked and drew a beautiful peach blossom for her. The old lady smiled happily. Seeing Sehyun being so friendly with the elderly, Tae-hee's impression of Sehyun changed a lot. Before leaving, the director of the nursing home gave Sehyun and Tae-hee a bag of kimchi and thanked them for working so hard today. On the bus home, Sehyun fell asleep after a hard day's work. Tae-hee quietly stretched out her shoulders for Sehyun to lean on. Tae-hee developed feelings for Sehyun. When Sehyun returned home, he deliberately called Tae-hee to ask how to cook noodles. Tae-hee taught Sehyun the steps to cook noodles over the phone. The two people were cooking noodles at the same time on both ends of the phone. The scene was very warm. Kyungju on the other side was dressed very nicely to go to the bar with Suji and Seju. But Seju went to the bar to find some other pretty girls, so she left Kyungju alone. Kyungju was disappointed and had to leave first. Then she went back to find Tae-hee and complained to her best friend about today's incident. Only then did Tae-hee know that Kyungju liked Seju, not Sehyun. Kyungju knew that Tae-hee liked Sehyun, so Kyungju encouraged her to follow her heart and pursue true love. Suji felt bored at the bar, so she also planned to go home first, but she encountered a man who bothered her. Seju ran over to stop them. Then the two got into a fight and Seju was injured. Suji felt sorry for Seju because he was beaten even outside, but Seju didn't seem to care and sent Suji off. Seju went to the hospital alone to visit his mother. It turned out that Seju's mother had been hospitalized and was in a coma. By his mother's side, Seju always showed dissatisfaction with everything, but now he showed weakness. Today, when he beat someone, Seju was also very scared. He was afraid that when he grew up, he would become a domestic abuser like his father. Although he always smiled and talked happily, in fact, he was still a child who needed his mother's care. To appease her daughter's resentment towards her unhappy marriage, Suji's mother told Sehyun's father to take the children out to eat together. Suji's mother always wanted to have a good relationship with her daughter, but every time the two talked, Suji would mock the mother. Sehyun's father kept talking about work. He didn't know how to comfort Suji's mother. On the contrary, he had an unusual relationship with Tae-hee's mother. He sometimes secretly sent flowers to her. Suji agreed to have dinner with Sehyun's father, but when she arrived at the hotel, she saw Sehyun's father going in another direction, and only her mother was waiting alone at the dining table. Suji felt strange and secretly followed him. It turned out that Sehyun's father had gone to find Tae-hee's mother. The person he really liked was this woman. Suji was shocked to see the two hugging through the door. After Sehyun's father met Tae-hee's mother, he went to have dinner with Suji and her mother. While eating, Suji begged Sehyun's father not to kick Sehyun out of the house he was living in, because that was where he lived with his sick mother. That place was full of memories. Suji also said that if Sehyun's father could promise, she would not talk about the fact that he had clearly come early but was an hour late. After hearing what the daughter had pointed out, Suji's mother became suspicious. Sehyun did not attend the party but followed Tae-hee to the nursing home. As volunteers, the two of them cleaned the glass together and they naturally held hands. Sehyun asked Tae-hee if she wanted to know more about him, and Tae-hee said she wanted to know but was a little scared. Sehyun told Tae-hee not to pretend to be sincere. Tae-hee brought the plate that Sehyun had painted last time to the old lady to make a finished product. Tae-hee asked Sehyun if the plate was beautiful, and Sehyun said it wasn't as beautiful as Tae-hee's. He also said that this plate should have been packaged as beautifully as Tae-hee's. Tae-hee felt very embarrassed after hearing this. When they went home together, facing Sehyun's concern and the close contact between the two, Tae-hee was so nervous that her face turned red. Tae-hee returned home and told Kyungju about what happened today. Kyungju realized that Tae-hee liked Sehyun, so she volunteered to help Tae-hee send a message to Suji. The purpose was to find out Sehyun's attitude towards Tae-hee. Suji replied to Kyungju. Sehyun didn't seem very interested in Tae-hee. Tae-hee was very disappointed when she found out. When the group of three were having fun together, Suji accidentally sat on Sehyun's bag. Tae-hee's plate broke, so Sehyun got angry with Suji. Suji didn't understand why Sehyun was so angry because it was just a plate. During the argument, Sehyun accidentally injured Suji's hand. Suji angrily said that this was the the first time Seon had done that to her. After saying that, she angrily turned around and left. Seon returned home and tried to glue the broken pieces of the plate back together, but after trying many times, he still failed. Seon went to volunteer at the nursing home again. He wanted to say hello to Tae-hee several times, but she ignored him. When it came to giving the plates to the old ladies, Seon told Tae-hee about the broken plate. Tae-hee angrily asked why Seon didn't tell her the situation earlier, and she asked Seon to stop there. He shouldn't come to the nursing home to do charity work anymore. Seon asked Tae-hee if this was her idea or the old ladies. In the end, both of them left unhappily. After the two of them separated, Seon looked very listless. When he cooked noodles, he would think of Tae-hee. Even when he saw kimchi in the refrigerator, he would think of her. He even drew a chibi image of her on the glass. Seon gradually cared about Tae-hee. When Tae-hee entered the nursing home, the director of the nursing home gave her a photo of Seon with his mother. It turned out that Seon's mother had also come here before she passed away. The nursing home director said that next time Seon comes, I will show him the photo. Tae-hee angrily said that Seon would not come again, but the director of the nursing home said that Seon had just arrived yesterday. Tae-hee was surprised to learn that Seon had come yesterday. He had redrawn the pattern on the plate and fired it. The group of three gathered together again. Seon said that he would give up seducing Tae-hee, but Suji said that he had to try his best before giving up. Seon said that if Suji wanted it, he would continue to seduce Tae-hee. Tonight, Suji's mother wanted to have dinner with Seon's father, but Seon's father refused because he was too busy with work. But in fact, Seon's father had made an appointment with Tae-hee's mother. The two of them retold their past. Tae-hee's mother said that the two of them were no longer destined for each other. She hoped that Seon's father could let go of the past. Suji's mother knew that the other person did not love her and that the marriage was also for business purposes, so she was depressed and drowned her sorrow in alcohol. After that, Suji's mother was taken home by JK Group's secretary Jun. The day Tae-hee moved into the dormitory had come. Seon was worried, so he still ran over. Seon and Tae-hee moved everything to Myeongjong Group's dormitory together, but they were informed that someone had called to cancel the room. Tae-hee had nowhere else to go, so she sat on the ground sadly. Seon was really bold. He carried Tae-hee into the car and took her home. Seon had just driven back to the area when he was taken away by the police for stealing a car. Tae-hee didn't understand why she was worried about Seon. Seon smiled and told Tae-hee to go home first and wait for him. He also said that the password to his house was Tae-hee's phone number. Tae-hee entered Seon's house and saw Seon drawing herself on the glass and the plate that had originally been carefully packaged to give to the old lady. She felt extremely touched. Seon explained at the police station that the car belonged to his mother. After his mother passed away, he had always been the one to drive it. The police said that Seon's father was the one who reported the case. At this time, Tae-hee rushed over. Because she understood the law, she explained to the police about the regulations on inherited cars. The police suggested that Seon should go home to discuss the inheritance of the car with his father, and they said that this was a car that had no accident records. Seon felt strange. His mother had clearly passed away in a car accident. But why was there no record? There must be a hidden reason behind it. At this time, the legal advisor of JK Group rushed over and told Seon that he would handle the rest himself. So Seon and Tae-hee left together. The two of them went to the convenience store. Because she had seen Seon draw a chibi of herself, Tae-hee confirmed that Seon liked her, and she told Seon that she liked him too. The two kissed sweetly. On the way home, Tae-hee secretly hoped that her birthday wish of living with her lover would come true. Then Seon and Tae-hee found a house right across the street. In fact, Seon was the owner of this building, but he was worried that Tae-hee would be burdened if she found out, so he deliberately hid this. Suji called Seon to invite him to eat with her, but he was worried that Tae-hee would be tired of moving things alone, so he refused Suji's invitation. This made Suji very disappointed. Seon went to Tae-hee's house to help. Tae-hee asked Seon to help her get the tools. After she finished, she took the orange juice from Seon's hand and took a big gulp. Looking at Tae-hee's sexy red lips, Seon's heart was filled with chaos. He quickly covered the other person's lips with tape. Seon accidentally dirtied the wall while moving the ladder. Tae-hee scolded Seon for damaging the wall and would have to pay compensation, but she didn't have that much money. Seon was terrified of Tae-hee's ferocity, so he took the box and went home. After Seon leaves, Tae-hee regrets that she was a little excessive. Since Tae-hee moved here, Seon had always been absent from the group of three's gatherings. His heart also turned to Tae-hee. Occasionally he bought some daily necessities and left them in front of Tae-hee's house. This warm action warmed Tae-hee Taehee's heart. Taehee paid special attention to her appearance. She always put on beautiful makeup before going out. In Seon's eyes, Taehee was beautiful, no matter what. On the other hand, Suji's mother was diligently studying all kinds of knowledge. She wanted to integrate into the world of JK Group as soon as possible. While eating, she kept taking notes because she wanted to take care of everything for Sehyun's father, like a real wife. But the other party only considered their marriage a transaction. There was no joy on his face. The two lived for work, so they could only meet on the weekends. Suji's mother was very happy after hearing this. She talked about the things she wanted to do vividly. Sehyun's father nodded in agreement. When the new semester came, everyone was already a student. Suji saw Taehee and Kyungju at school and immediately called Sehyun to tell him to appear handsome in front of her. Suji stepped forward to invite Kyungju to attend the fashion show in the evening. She also told Taehee that she only had one extra ticket. Taehee generously said it was okay. At that moment, Sehyun drove to pick Suji up. After getting out of the car, Sehyun naturally took over Suji's cello. Even after putting Suji in the car, he was still very cold to Taehee. Taehee felt a little lost, so she had no choice but to leave alone. In the car, Kyungju thanked Sehyun for helping Taehee move. Only then did Suji find out that Sehyun had rejected her invitation for another girl, so she felt unhappy. Then Suji asked Kyungju to go on a trip together, so she could be closer to Seju. Kyungju happily agreed and said she would take Taehee along. On the other side, Taehee was looking at photos of Suji and Sehyun. Seeing the boy she liked being intimate with another girl, Taehee felt very disappointed. After taking Suji to her music lessons, Sehyun felt guilty for rejecting Taehee, so he wanted to invite Taehee to eat with him. Taehee knew the truth that Sehyun was the landlord, so she took out the contract and asked Sehyun to sign. She also said that she had contacted Myeongjong Group to quickly move into the dormitory. Sehyun told Taehee to wait until she finished eating before talking. While eating, Taehee felt annoyed because Sehyun poured sauce on the sweet and sour meat. She felt that he was not thoughtful at all. She angrily said that she would not eat anymore. She turned to get the tools that were taken away last time and went straight home. But coincidentally, Sehyun left the tools and condoms in one place. Taehee opened the drawer and saw a lot of condoms, which made both of them feel embarrassed. After watching the fashion show, Seju took Kyungju home. Kyungju told Seju that Suji wanted to organize a trip. She also invited Seju to go to the movies with her. Seju didn't want to interact too much with Kyungju, so he had to find a way to ask Kyungju's nanny for help. The nanny intentionally ruined Kyungju's favorite food so that after she ate it, she would get constipated and couldn't join the trip anymore. But unexpectedly, Kyungju, in order to maintain her image in front of Seju, so firmly refused the food. As a result, all the spoiled food was eaten by Kyungju's mother. Suji told Sehyun about her travel plans. Sehyun said that he only wanted to travel with Suji and Seju. Suji asked Sehyun if he was really interested in Taehee. Female's intuition made Suji feel that Sehyun was very sincere this time, and that made her extremely uneasy. Seju always hoped that Taehee would join. It seemed like he was very pleased to see that Sehyun had real feelings for Taehee. Suji's mother prepared to go on a date with Sehyun's father on the weekend, but Sehyun's father went to find Taehee's mother to go on a date. Suji's mother waited at home all morning with great excitement. She was still eagerly waiting for Sehyun's father's date call. On the other side, Kyungju's mother got sick from eating spoiled food. Kyungju had to stay home to take care of her mother. Kyungju called Taehee and told her to go on a trip first. Taehee said that if Kyungju didn't go, she didn't want to go either. Kyungju said that she had an appointment with Seju to watch a movie together in the evening, so they would definitely go there later. Taehee couldn't bear to refuse her best friend's request, so even though her leg was injured, she still came. Kyungju called Sehyun to ask him to pick Taehee up. Sehyun drove to the train station and apologized for hiding the fact that he was the host from Taehee. The two reconciled and went to the villa first. Seeing the messy room, the two started to clean up. Sehyun also cooked food for Taehee to eat. Coincidentally, Suji and Seju also arrived at the same time. Seeing the two of them being so sweet, Suji was very jealous. Then Suji found an excuse to chase Taehee away. When it was time for dinner, Suji targeted Taehee and deliberately hinted that the three of them had a relationship that was as strong as a wall, so no one could shake it. Suji also mentioned that Sehyun once suggested seducing pretty girls with Seju to see who could seduce them first. Hearing this, Taehee's expression became serious. She immediately changed the subject and said that Sehyun loved to draw and that the ladies at the nursing home also liked his paintings. Suji smiled and said that Sehyun hated drawing. Finally, Sehyun admitted that he didn't like drawing. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. In the end, Taehee was unhappy and left first. After dinner, Seju asked Suji why she was causing such trouble. It was obvious that everyone's plan was to get Sehyun and Tae-hee together. Suji said that she was now unsure if Sehyun was continuing the game or acting in front of them. Meanwhile, Tae-hee went to the swimming pool at the villa to relax and coincidentally met Sehyun there. Sehyun apologized to Tae-hee for what just happened, saying that he wasn't sure if he liked painting or not. Tae-hee asked Sehyun why he always pretended to be the bad guy. Doing so would only make him suffer. When the three of them were together, Sehyun always seemed to be the lazy one, the good-for-nothing. Perhaps he didn't realize that he had other talents. He could also bring warmth to others. Tae-hee's maturity and kindness changed Sehyun little by little. After Sehyun left, Suji went to the swimming pool to find Tae-hee and said that she really liked Sehyun and that they liked each other. Sehyun chose to date Tae-hee because she wanted to adapt to her brotherly relationship with Suji. After hearing Suji's words, Tae-hee felt very unhappy. Then she saw Sehyun tenderly massaging Suji's acupuncture points. Tae-hee sadly returned to her room, and early the next morning she departed for Seoul. Sehyun woke up and found out that Tae-hee had returned to Seoul. He was worried about Tae-hee, so he hurriedly chased after her. Tae-hee injured her ankle and couldn't go far. Sehyun chased after her and carried her on his back. Tae-hee took the opportunity to take a photo of the two of them. Seeing Sehyun worrying about her, Tae-hee felt sweetly happy. The two held hands and returned to Seoul together. When Sehyun returned home, he cooked delicious food for Tae-hee. The two of them ate happily together. Suji's mother used the company's fund to visit the elderly in the nursing home and also bought a lot of daily necessities for them. Suji's mother happened to see a photo of Sehyun's mother donating to the nursing home. Suji's mother remembered seeing Sehyun's mother's car while driving. Seeing Sehyun's mother struggling desperately in the car, it seemed like Suji's mother was also hiding some secret. Later, when Suji's mother and Sehyun's father had dinner together, she expressed her desire to send Suji to study abroad. She was also concerned about the other person's family. Sehyun's father told Suji's mother not to confuse the purpose of the marriage between the two. It was just a commercial marriage. Suji's mother was very disappointed after hearing that. On the other side, Suji and Seju also drove back to Seoul. In front of Suji's house, Seju was dragged away by a group of men in black. Suji panicked and called Sehyun. Sehyun left Tae-hee, who was eating, and ran out. Actually, because there was a ceremony at Seju's house today, the family sent someone to take Seju, who was playing outside home. Seju sneaked out as soon as he got home and was beaten up by his grandfather. After eating, Tae-hee went out and coincidentally met Kyungju. Kyungju was surprised to see Tae-hee and Sehyun living so close to each other. Tae-hee kept complaining to her best friend that Sehyun always cared about Suji but ignored her. But she didn't notice that Sehyun had quietly heard everything. He took this opportunity to invite her to eat with him tomorrow. The next day, Sehyun went to see Tae-hee. Kyungju told him that Tae-hee had gone to work part-time. Kyungju also mentioned Tae-hee and Suji at the pool. Sehyun was about to go find Tae-hee when he received a call from the police. It turns out that Tae-hee had asked the police to investigate Sehyun's mother's traffic accident. The police told Sehyun that only a high school girl had an accident that day, and there were no records of his mother's car. Sehyun wondered if there was another hidden reason behind his mother's death. When he arrived at the cafe where Tae-hee worked, Sehyun coincidentally met Gi-young, who was also pursuing Tae-hee. Gi-young thought it was a pity that Tae-hee was a waitress, so he invited Tae-hee to work at his law firm. Seeing Tae-hee and Gi-young chatting happily, Sehyun felt annoyed and teased him from the side. Gi-young asked what their relationship was, and Tae-hee angrily said that Sehyun was just a friend of a friend. The old lady at the nursing home missed Sehyun, so she secretly called him. So Sehyun went to the nursing home to visit everyone. The monk asked why Tae-hee didn't come with him. Everyone thought the two were arguing, so they took out their pocket money and gave it to Sehyun so he could invite Tae-hee out to eat. Seeing everyone's enthusiastic concern for her, Sehyun was very touched. On the way home, Sehyun met Tae-hee climbing a tree to help the children get the ball. Tae-hee slipped and lost her balance and fell into Sehyun's arms. Sehyun took Tae-hee home and cooked delicious food for her. Tae-hee accidentally saw Sehyun's painting. As a result, she saw Suji in Sehyun's painting. Tae-hee started to feel jealous of Suji again. At this moment, Tae-hee's father video called her, so she returned home to answer the phone. In the video, Tae-hee introduced her father to where she lived, and she also told him not to worry about her. Tae-hee's father said that he heard that Tae-hee's mother had reopened the ceramic exhibition. He also said that he wanted to send her some of her favorite coffee and asked Tae-hee to take it there. Tae-hee angrily asked her father why he couldn't forget her mother. At first, her mother forgetting the love and taking advantage of her father's enthusiasm, but in the end, the one who couldn't forget was him. While asking her father, Tae-hee also thought about herself. Why was she like her father, waiting for someone who didn't love her? Tae-hee decided not to live like her father. Seon found Tae-hee looking at Suji's portrait, so he went to her house and explained directly. Tae-hee said she hoped her relationship with Seon would end here. Seon agitatedly asked Tae-hee why. Did Suji influence her in any way? Tae-hee said her decision had nothing to do with anyone. It was just a matter between her and Sehyun. Even though she said harsh words to Sehyun after closing the door, she still sighed, tears falling non-stop. Sehyun was very sad after the breakup, so he went to a bar to relieve her sadness. On the other side, Hye-jung and Suji kept talking about how Hye-jung fell in love with a guy at first sight. Suji couldn't stand it anymore and called Seju. At that time, Seju was lying on the sofa resting. He ignored the calls from other girls. Seeing Suji calling, he quickly picked up the phone. When he got there, it took Seju a while to understand the whole story. He happened to know Ju Hwan, the guy Hye-jung had a crush on. Then Hye-jung begged Seju to help her call Ju Hwan to make an appointment. Ju Hwan was a bartender at Seju's bar. Receiving a call from Seju, Ju Hwan said that Seon was drunk there. Seju and Suji rushed to the bar. Seon asked Suji if she had said anything to Tae-hee. Suji admitted that she had told Tae-hee that she and Seon liked each other. Suji also asked back if she said wrong. Sehyun smiled bitterly and said Suji did a good job. Suji was not satisfied with why Sehyun always cared about Tae-hee, so she angrily left. Seju immediately chased after Suji and asked her what she wanted to confirm with Sehyun. Facing Seju's questioning, Suji didn't care and rushed to kiss him. She also told Seju that kissing meant nothing to her. In a three-person game, Seju always appeared to be a playboy, as if no one cared about his sincerity. But in fact, Seju was the one who always silently liked Suji. Sehyun passed out drunk in a bar, so he was taken to Myeongjong Hospital for emergency treatment. After Sehyun woke up, he found himself living in the same area where his mother used to live. Remembering every moment with Mother Sehyun, missed his mother very much. Sehyun went to see Suji's mother to ask who the doctor who treated his mother was, and if she knew the details of his mother's car accident that year. It was clear that there was an accident, but no information could be found. The police station also only recorded a hit-and-run accident that happened that day. The victim was a female student. Suji's mother clearly remembered that the person involved in the hit-and-run was Seon's mother. The company later deleted the records because not wanting Seon's deceased mother to become the culprit. Suji's mother advised Sehyun not to investigate this matter too much. Sehyun returned to the hospital room, he refusing to believe that his kind mother would be the one to cause an accident and run away. It happened that Tae-hee wanted to find Sehyun to return the items. She accidentally found out that he was in the hospital. The two talked openly once. Before that, out of curiosity, Tae-hee secretly opened Sehyun's paper plane. She learned that Sehyun had no blood relationship with his father. Sehyun told Tae-hee that his feelings for Suji were just friendship, and the person he really liked was Tae-hee. Seeing Sehyun's sincerity, Tae-hee was heartbroken. In the end, she decided to believe Sehyun, and the two got back together. Tae-hee hoped that if one day Sehyun no longer liked her, he would just say so, because she didn't want to be someone with unrequited love. Sehyun asked Tae-hee if she could take him out of the hospital tomorrow. He also said that he didn't often contact his father, so he didn't have a guardian to help him with the discharge procedures. Tae-hee softened and agreed to complete the discharge procedures for Sehyun before leaving. Sehyun happily gave Tae-hee the necklace that his mother had worn before she passed away as a token of love. Early the next morning, when they were going through the discharge procedures, the two of them found out that Sehyun's bank card had been frozen by his father. Luckily, Tae-hee helped him pay the money, and she even joked that it should be considered her rent. Suji and Hye-jung went to the hospital to get their glasses, and as a result, Sehyun's father was also there. It turned out that his eyesight had deteriorated for unknown reasons, and he was likely to go blind soon. In the evening, Seju bought a barbecue restaurant, and he would start a business to make money to make ends meet. Because Suji liked sweets, he had wanted to open a dessert shop in front of university. The intention was to make it convenient for her to come and eat at any time, but in the end, he still bought a barbecue restaurant just because Suji liked grilled pork skin. Kyungju hopes that Sehyun and Tae-hee can get along. She even sent a photo of herself with Sehyun to Tae-hee. Seeing boyfriend and best friend together like that, Tae-hee was very happy. Because his card was frozen, so Tae-hee introduced Sehyun to the store where she worked to draw pictures to earn money. Then she ran to school alone. At school, Tae-hee met her mother and co-workers. The co-workers invited invited Tae-hee to eat together. This scene was accidentally seen by Soo-ji. She heard from Kyung-ju that the person with Si-hyun's father that day was Tae-hee's mother. Meanwhile, Soo-ji, Se-ju and Kyung-ju decided to work together to help Hye-jung escape her mother's surveillance and date Ju-hwan. Hye-jung lied to her mother that she was going to visit the university. But because her mother installed a tracking device on Hye-jung's phone, Hye-jung left her phone with Soo-ji so as not to be discovered. She then ran off to date Ju-hwan. Hye-jung and Ju-hwan got along very well and later made plans to go camping. At this moment, Hye-jung's mother told her to go home to study math, so everyone tried to find a way to delay the time. Kyung-ju called her mother to ask her to keep Hye-jung's mother. Kyung-ju's mother had no choice but to call some gigolos to take Hye-jung's mother to a karaoke bar. Among them was Ju-hwan, who had just said goodbye to Hye-jung. Si-hyun finished painting at the convenience store and was about to go home when he coincidentally met Soo-ji. So he drove Soo-ji to Myeongjong Hospital. At the entrance of the hospital, Soo-ji saw her mother being pelted with eggs by protesters who had helped JK Group's products hit the market. Soo-ji was angry and wanted to step forward and teach the protesters a lesson, but was stopped by Si-hyun. Although she has always had a bad relationship with her mother, when her mother is really in trouble, Soo-ji will still choose her mother's side without hesitation. Soo-ji was depressed and told Si-hyun that they should get married. As long as the two of them got married, their parents would have to give up the engagement. She couldn't see her mother being taken advantage of by Si-hyun's father, but this time Si-hyun rejected Soo-ji. Now Si-hyun's heart really only has Tae-hee. Soo-ji was angry and accidentally said that Si-hyun's father was dating someone else. Si-hyun asked who it was, but Soo-ji left without saying anything. Si-hyun worriedly returned home and found Tae-hee waiting for him. The two went to Tae-hee's room to eat instant noodles and watch the stars. It was warm and happy. When they were together, Si-hyun's mood also changed immediately. After returning home, Si-hyun wanted to draw a portrait of Tae-hee, but he couldn't draw Tae-hee's smiling face, so he ran to find Tae-hee and asked her to smile for him. Seeing Tae-hee's bright smile, Si-hyun couldn't help but laugh. Soo-ji's mother was depressed because she was attacked by protesters, so Secretary Jun invited her to go drinking with him. In the car, Secretary Jun told Soo-ji's mother a secret. Si-hyun was not biological child. Soo-ji's mother was shocked when she heard it, and the reason Si-hyun's father could become vice president was because grandma loved Si-hyun, so she reluctantly gave Si-hyun's father this important responsibility. Secretary Jun persuaded Soo-ji's mother to give up the position of vice president and not make her life tiring. Soo-ji's mother said that this life was what she was pursuing. Soo-ji and Se-ju went out. Se-ju took Soo-ji to a restaurant to eat grilled meat, unexpectedly meeting Si-hyun's father and Tae-hee's mother there. Soo-ji finally realized that the woman Si-hyun's father was dating was Tae-hee's mother. She also thought about all the clues she discovered early in the morning. Soo-ji once again felt that Si-hyun's father was not worthy of her mother. After drinking, Si-hyun's father once again expressed his true feelings to Tae-hee's mother. He did not want to leave the other person again and was confident that he would not change in the future. Tae-hee's mother was touched and they hugged each other. She always remembered the scent of perfume on the other person. After breaking up with Si-hyun's father that year, when walking on the street and smelling the scent of perfume on Tae-hee's father, the two got to know each other and got married. One day, Si-hyun was called to the company by his father. Si-hyun was hospitalized for drug use. As a result, JK Group's stock price plummeted, making Si-hyun's father extremely angry. Si-hyun asked who his father was currently dating. He also said he would find a way to find out. Soo-ji's mother stepped in and said she could arrange for Si-hyun to be tested at her hospital. After the test report, the media would stop spreading rumors, but this suggestion was rejected by both of them. The conversation between father and son ended in annoyed. JK Group shareholders were worried about the consequences of the drug scandal, and there were also rumors about JK's political bribery. Soo-ji's mother suggested that Myeongjong should hold a press conference to clarify everything. Ji-young went to the cafe where Tae-hee worked and told Tae-hee about the rumors of Si-hyun using drugs. After listening, Tae-hee scolded Ji-young. She also said that people like Gi-young who don't know right from wrong are not suitable to be lawyers. Tae-hee was worried about Si-hyun, so after work, she sat and waited for him to come home. From afar, she saw Si-hyun walking towards her with his head down. Tae-hee walked over and hugged him. Si-hyun was bored and went to Tae-hee's house to play. By chance, he saw Tae-hee doing her homework, so the house was very messy, so he helped Tae-hee mop the floor and wash the dishes. After cleaning, Tae-hee's house immediately became clean. Early the next morning, He invited Tae-hee to go jogging together. Tae-hee was tired, so she sat down. Seo-hyun immediately hugged her and sat on a bench. Suddenly a ball flew over. To protect Seo-hyun from being hit by the ball, Tae-hee jumped out to block it, causing her to get injured. Seo-hyun painfully applied medicine to her. Tae-hee happily said that luckily, the ball didn't hit Seo-hyun. The teacher at school invited Suji to perform. Suji happily thought that her cello playing ability was being recognized. But then the teacher told Suji that he wanted her to go home to ask for sponsorship from the JK Cultural Foundation. It turned out that this was the teacher's real purpose. Suji felt very angry because she was being taken advantage of. Suji went to Seju's barbecue restaurant for dinner. Coincidentally, on TV was Suji's mother's press conference. The reporters present at the scene kept asking Suji's mother difficult questions. Fortunately, everything was resolved skillfully by Suji's mother. Suji was very angry when she saw her mother being taken advantage of by the JK group. Then, she took the magazine with the news that her mother and Seo-hyun's father were about to get married to Tae-hee's mother. She made an excuse that she really liked the place. After reading the magazine's introduction about the ceramic art exhibition, she asked Tae-hee's mother to sign it for her. Tae-hee's mother accidentally saw the news that Seo-hyun's father was about to get married. She was extremely surprised. Tae-hee's mother thought that this time she could finally be with Seo-hyun's father, but unexpectedly, Seo-hyun's father lied to her. Suji returned to the gathering place of the three, and at that moment, Seo-hyun also arrived. The two cared about each other. Suji also told Seo-hyun about the interesting things that had happened recently. Seo-hyun asked who his father was dating. Afraid that Seo-hyun would be hurt, Suji decided to hide it. After the press conference, Suji's mother discovered a pair of earrings that had fallen at the scene, so she went back to look for them, but unexpectedly saw Secretary Jun also looking for them for her. Secretary Jun once again persuaded Suji's mother to give up, and Suji's mother said that she really liked Seo-hyun's father. She asked Secretary Jun to stop interfering in her business. The president of JK Group, who was also Seo-hyun's grandmother, returned to the country. The grandmother asked Seo-hyun's father what was the purpose of marrying Suji's mother. Seo-hyun's father said that he did so to save the launch of the biopharmaceutical products. Seo-hyun's grandmother warned her son to be careful lest the plan fail, adding that her eldest son and his wife, along with Seo-hyun's mother, all died because of him. The important task at hand now was to help Seo-hyun maintain stability and keep the company going. On another fine day, Tae-hee had to go to the suburbs to do her homework, and Seo-hyun saw that and went with her. The warm sunshine of the years was so quiet, and the gentleness between the two of them made Seo-hyun like Tae-hee more and more. He was also more afraid that Tae-hee would find out about his initial lies. After Tae-hee finished her work, she took a photo with Seo-hyun, and they went shopping together. It was the first time Seo-hyun drank rice wine and got drunk. They couldn't take the bus back to Seoul, so the two of them had no choice but to stay there overnight. But the hotel only had the last room left, so they had to sleep together. The two roommates were both nervous and happy. Seo-hyun expressed his feelings to Tae-hee once again. The two hugged each other sweetly and went to sleep. The next day, they went shopping and eating. While on the road, Tae-hee was startled by a speeding car. She told Seo-hyun that 2 years ago, she was in a serious car accident. The driver even ran away, leaving her with a psychological trauma. Seo-hyun asked for details of the case, linking it with what Suji's mother had said. Perhaps Seo-hyun's mother was involved in the hit and run. So Seo-hyun suspected that Tae-hee was the female student that his mother had hit at that time. Seo-hyun hesitantly asked Tae-hee what she would do if she found that person. Tae-hee said without hesitation that of course she would not forgive that person. Seju's father wanted to visit Seju's barbecue restaurant. Seju quickly called his friends to come and help. Kyungju also came. Seju deliberately asked why Tae-hee didn't come. Kyungju helped Tae-hee find an excuse to let things go. Suji seemed to have guessed that Seo-hyun and Tae-hee were together. Feeling unhappy, she left the restaurant. Kyungju then asked Seju if she knew that Seo-hyun was still dating Tae-hee. She also said that Seo-hyun wanted her to keep it a secret. Seju said that love cannot be hidden. Perhaps Suji also realized that. Suji practiced cello at the place where the three of them usually gathered. Seju suddenly kissed Suji, feeling embarrassed and not knowing what to say. Suji ran away without saying a word. Seju was punished by his grandfather again for opening a shop without permission, and he was also ordered to close it if he did not make any money within a month. Tae-hee and Seo-hyun ate noodles at home. Then Seo-hyun accidentally saw the DNA test paper. He asked Tae-hee if she had seen it. Tae-hee explained that she did not mean to see it and apologized to him. Seo-hyun told Tae-hee that he found out about this on the first day they met. He also said that he hoped that no one would know about it. Feeling depressed, Seo-hyun returned returned home. Tae-hee ran to Seon's door and apologized again, but Seon opened the door and said he wanted to be alone. Then he closed the door. After being kissed by Seju, Suji returned home and thought about it more and more. So she asked Seju to meet her, but Seju even asked her to sleep with him. Suji angrily turned around and left. On the other side, Sehyun was calling the police who had previously investigated the case for him. He wanted to identify the victim of the collision. The police said they could not tell Sehyun because of confidentiality, but what was certain was that the person was currently stable and had been accepted into a university in Seoul. Hearing the police say that Sehyun became more suspicious that it was Tae-hee, Seju asked Sehyun why he hid his relationship with Tae-hee. Sehyun said that he and Tae-hee couldn't be together. He would get everything back on track as soon as possible. Then Sehyun asked Seju if things were okay with Suji. Seju disappointedly said that the two of them were impossible. At this time, Suji also came to the gathering place of the three people. Suji asked Sehyun if he went out with Tae-hee last weekend. She even brought up the fact that she knew who Sehyun's father was dating. Sehyun said that Tae-hee had nothing to do with this, and whether Suji told him who his father was dating or not, he would not break up. On the other side, Tae-hee left a note in front of Sehyun's door, hoping that he would believe her. Sehyun saw the note and felt that he was warmed by Tae-hee again. Feeling troubled, Sehyun confided in his mother's portrait, not knowing what to do. Suji told her mother that Sehyun's father had a lover outside, but unexpectedly her mother had known for a long time. Suji begged her mother not to continue like this, but Suji's mother told daughter not to care about this. Sehyun went out early in the morning. Tae-hee cautiously asked Sehyun if he was still angry. Sehyun said he wasn't angry at all, he was just thinking about some things. He even invited Tae-hee to have dinner with him tonight. Tae-hee, who was sad, was very happy to hear that. Sehyun went to his mother's grave alone. He cried and told her that Tae-hee was the first person he truly liked since he grew up. There were too many secrets and lies between the two of them. In order to not hurt Tae-hee more, no matter how much Sehyun liked her, he had to end this relationship as soon as possible. On the other side, Tae-hee and Kyungju met Suji on campus. When saying goodbye, Suji told Tae-hee to meet again in the evening. Tae-hee and Kyungju thought Sehyun also invited Suji to dinner, not wanting to be compared to Suji, so Tae-hee sat at the dressing table and got dressed up to meet Sehyun. At this time, Tae-hee's mother told Sehyun's father that she knew he was getting married. Even though he loved Tae-hee's mother, he still chose Suji's mother for his career, but she still hoped that he could come see her sometimes. Tae-hee's mother was already frustrated with the relationship between the two. When she was young, when she heard that he was getting married, she waited until he got divorced. Both of them wanted to rekindle their relationship. Now his first wife has passed away, but he is about to marry another woman. Tae-hee's mother doesn't want to wait any longer. At dinner, Suji asked Sehyun if Tae-hee looked pretty today. Sehyun indifferently made sarcastic comments to Tae-hee. Tae-hee saw that Sehyun was pretending to be a bad person again, deliberately saying hurtful words to her. Tae-hee asked Sehyun if he still liked her. Sehyun didn't admit it. She angrily left. Sehyun stayed at the bar drunk. Suji took him home, but they were neighbors. There were so many memories that Sehyun didn't want to go upstairs. At this time, Suji saw Tae-hee downstairs at Sehyun's house, so she immediately took Sehyun back to the place of three of them. Drunk Sehyun told Suji that in the past when something sad happened, the three of them would face it together, but now his heart has changed. After saying that, Sehyun removed Suji's hand from his face. Suji accidentally discovered that part of the necklace around Sehyun's neck was missing. Suji realized that Sehyun really liked Tae-hee, so she cried loudly. Seju took Kyungju home. He wanted to use a kiss to show the other person his heart. He kissed Kyungju on the cheek. Kyungju smiled and said to Seju. It turned out that he only liked her as a friend because she was still stubborn. But when got home, Kyungju threw herself into her mother's arms and cried loudly. It turned out that through the kiss, Kyungju confirmed that she really liked Seju, but at the same time, she also understood that Seju didn't like her. Kyungju didn't want to make it difficult for Seju, so she decided to end this relationship first. Haejung's mother went to see Suji's mother. She wanted a detailed medical report from Myeongjong Hospital to prove that her son was unable to perform military service. Suji's mother said that her hospital would never provide a fake certificate. Haejung's mother angrily blamed the other party for not being flexible and even mentioned that Sehyun's father went to another hospital for an eye exam. It just so happened that Sehyun's father brought fried chicken and beer to Suji's mother. Suji's mother asked if he was unwell well somewhere. Seon's father said there was nothing to worry about. Tae-hee was very sad after being abandoned. After knowing that Kyung-ju was at home without eating more, Tae-hee regained her spirit and brought Kyung-ju's favorite food to comfort her best friend. She also pretended to be strong and told Kyung-ju that she didn't need love, so Kyung-ju's mother introduced Tae-hee to be Haejung's tutor. Haejung's mother stood behind listening and was very satisfied with this tutor. Suji called Si-hyun and Seju to the secret base and told Si-hyun that his father was dating a ceramic artist and also gave the other person's information to Si-hyun. But she didn't tell Si-hyun that this person was Tae-hee's mother. Si-hyun went to see Secretary Jun to ask the truth. Secretary Jun only told Si-hyun that when his mother had an accident, at that time, she was on her way to meet this ceramic artist. Si-hyun wanted to know more about the truth. After thinking about it, Si-hyun decided to email Tae-hee's mother to make an appointment. Si-hyun's grandmother went to meet Suji's mother, hoping that the new drug could pass the clinical trials as soon as possible, and she would depend on the results to give Suji's mother her shares. Suji's mother promised to do her best. That day, Tae-hee's mother went to the cafe where her daughter worked and told Tae-hee that I would leave Seoul and return to Incheon, then gave Tae-hee a gift. Tae-hee's mother talked about the past and also told her that I had no one to date. The relationship between mother and daughter also became lighter. Suji's mother also had a lot of pressure because of the upcoming drug, so she often had to take sedatives. Suji couldn't bear to see her mother working so hard, so she sent a message to meet Si-hyun's father. After meeting, Suji told Si-hyun's father that she couldn't bear to see her mother being used by JK Group again, so she hoped to marry Si-hyun so that both sides could gain commercial benefits and Si-hyun's father could continue to date the person he liked. After hearing Suji's words, Si-hyun's father fell into deep thought. Then he told Suji's mother what Suji had told him. Suji's mother was extremely shocked. Si-hyun's father comforted that he knowing that Suji's mother didn't consider their marriage a transaction, but if the children objected, this marriage couldn't be carried out. Suji's mother said that it had nothing to do with the children. She would continue to complete the work she was doing, but the results of the clinical trial of the new drug were not as good as expected. In order to get the new drug to market as quickly as possible, Suji's mother finally agreed to help Haejung's mother make a fake certificate for her son in exchange for the support of the counselor. Tae-hee went to the nursing home to visit the old ladies. In front of the old lady who always cared for her, Tae-hee, who was suppressing the pain in heart, could no longer stop crying. That evening, Tae-hee had dinner with her classmates, and after choosing the location, it accidental to be Seju's barbecue restaurant. Tae-hee was in a bad mood and got drunk. Seju was afraid that Tae-hee would be in danger, so he called Si-hyun. Si-hyun received a phone call and hurriedly ran to take the drunk Tae-hee home. While she was still drunk, Tae-hee cried and told Si-hyun that she had apologized to him, but why did he still want to leave her? After saying that, she hugged Si-hyun and refused to let go. Si-hyun carried the drunk Tae-hee home. He carefully bandaged her wound and covered her with a blanket. In front of the sleeping Tae-hee, Si-hyun apologized to her. Tae-hee did nothing wrong, but he had to hurt her. He resolutely broke up. The next morning, Tae-hee woke up and saw a band-aid on her hand, so she knew that Si-hyun had taken her home last night. So she hurriedly ran to find Si-hyun. Si-hyun was in the elevator at that time. Tae-hee desperately chased after him and finally stopped Si-hyun. Tae-hee asked Si-hyun why he hated her, but still cared about her so much. Si-hyun finally told Tae-hee frankly that it was his mother who hit her 2 years ago and ran away, so he felt ashamed to continue dating Tae-hee. Tae-hee thought that it was not Si-hyun's fault. She did not accept that Si-hyun broke up with her. As long as she could be with Si-hyun, that was not important. Si-hyun was suffering from inner turmoil. After hearing what Tae-hee said, he felt liberated. He hugged Tae-hee and cried bitterly. When Si-hyun returned home, he looked for Tae-hee and apologized to her. Tae-hee remembered what the old lady at the nursing home had told her, that if Si-hyun apologized, he had to say it at least 3 times to be truly sorry. So she secretly sat down and counted. After Si-hyun apologized 3 times, her anger gradually subsided. When a couple is together, the most important thing is not to lie to themselves. Si-hyun said he had already said everything in his heart. He also expressed his feelings to Tae-hee and made peace like before. Si-hyun said that his father had always been secretly meeting a certain woman. The day his mother passed away was also the day she was on her way to meet this woman. Si-hyun wanted to take revenge on that person, but Tae-hee didn't want the person she loved to be blinded by hatred, so she wanted to use happiness to obscure everything. Sometimes revenge doesn't always make us feel comfortable. Si-hyun smiled and didn't answer. Suji's mother made an appointment to meet the counselor. The counts agreed to help bring JK Group's medicine to the market, but the condition was that his people had to become VIPs at Myeongjong Hospital. Suji's mother agreed to this condition, and the two reached an agreement to cooperate. Secretary Jun told Suji's mother that Si-hyun knew about his father dating someone else and also suspected that his mother's incident was related to that person. Suji's mother was shocked after hearing this. Why did Secretary Jun tell Si-hyun this? Secretary Jun explained that once Si-hyun knew that his mother was not the culprit, I would help him solve this problem. Secretary Jun also asked where Suji's mother's car was at that time. Suji's mother replied that it was in the garage. She hadn't driven that car for a long time. It seemed that the reason why Si-hyun's mother had an accident that year was not simple. Si-hyun drove to see Taehee's mother. He still didn't know that this woman was Taehee's mother. Si-hyun gave her the JK Cultural Foundation's collection catalog. It was filled with her works that Si-hyun's father had secretly bought over the years. Si-hyun also said that his mother had passed away on the way to see her. Taehee's mother was shocked after hearing what Si-hyun said. She didn't expect Si-hyun's mother to pass away because of her. She chased Si-hyun outside and apologized to him. Si-hyun ignored it and just left. Taehee's mother recalled that night when she was waiting for Si-hyun's father to come. She ignored Taehee's request to transfer to another school, so Taehee angrily ran away from home and was hit by a car. Not long after, Si-hyun's father told Si-hyun that Suji proposed to marry Si-hyun. Si-hyun's father thought that his son wanted to use this method to maintain position in the family. Si-hyun denied that he was not like his father, who used others to maintain position. In addition, he also said that he had just met his father's ex-lover, and he told that woman the truth about his mother's death, because he didn't want his mother to be alone in the other world, and the perpetrator was still alive and well. The conversation between father and son ended unhappily once again. Today was Si-hyun's birthday. Suji and Seju went to the place where they gathered to decorate. The two also prepared a cake and candles for Si-hyun, but Si-hyun was in no mood, so he didn't care. As soon as they met, Si-hyun asked Suji what she had said to his father. Her words would make his stance become cowardly. Suji said that Si-hyun's purpose in betting on approaching Taehee from the beginning was to marry her, and she was now keeping that promise. Si-hyun admitted that he had changed. He fell in love with Taehee. At first, he agreed to seduce Taehee just to make Suji trust him, but now he didn't want to give up on that person. It turned out that the three of them now each had their own way of thinking. Seju advised Suji that if she really wanted to keep Si-hyun, she should just tell him the truth. Don't be like me and regret it later. Actually, Suji had known for a long time that Seju's feelings for her were not friendship. When Suji got home, her mother immediately asked why she said that to Si-hyun's father, and also told her the truth that Si-hyun was not biological child. Suji was worried about Si-hyun, so she quickly ran out. She called Seju to go find Si-hyun together. On the other side, Taehee was downstairs waiting for Si-hyun. Seeing his mother's red car that Si-hyun was driving from afar, Taehee fell into deep thought again. She remembered the time she had an accident that year. At that time, she had an argument with her mother, so she left home and then discovered that there was a sick woman in the red car. So Taehee kindly wanted to stop a car on the road to ask for help, but she was hit. In Taehee's memory, the person involved in the accident was not Si-hyun's mother. Taehee returned home to wish Si-hyun a happy birthday. She also wished Si-hyun good health and happiness. This reminded Si-hyun of the past. His mother also wished the same. Taehee also gave Si-hyun a photo album that she made herself. It was full of happy photos of the two of them. But Si-hyun was always worried that one day Taehee would know that the reason he approached her was because of the bet with Suji from the beginning. Instead of waiting until the lie was exposed, it was best to confess first. Thunder outside the window. Si-hyun was worried that Taehee would be scared, so he specially called her, asking her that if he wanted to do anything on a rainy day. Seeing that Taehee did not answer, Si-hyun said that it would be fine to meet and discuss. So Taehee ran to Si-hyun's house. This scene was accidentally seen by Suji, who came to see Si-hyun. Suji misunderstood that the two of them were living together, so she quietly left. When she was sad, the person who was always by her side was Seju. So this time Suji decided not to oppose her mother's marriage anymore. At this time, Si-hyun and Taehee were lying together and chatting sweetly. The next day, Si-hyun took Taehee to class and coincidentally met Suji. Taehee pulled Si-hyun's hand back, but this time, Si-hyun did not avoid it. He held Taehee's hand, Facing this affection, Sehyun's grandmother invited Suji's mother, Jisoo, and Sehyun to have dinner together. At the dining table, Sehyun's grandmother was very unfriendly to Suji's mother and son. Grandma found an excuse for Sehyun and Suji to leave. Suji was worried about her mother, so she secretly left her phone on recording mode. After the two left, Sehyun's grandmother warned Suji's mother not to talk too much after returning to her house. It turned out that it was Suji's mother who told her on the day Sehyun's mother passed away. Sehyun's father and Taehee's mother got married in front of friends. She also told the other party Taehee's mother's address. When the two returned to their room, Suji saw that mother was depressed, so she asked why Sehyun's father didn't come and left mother alone to face such a fierce old woman. Then Suji mentioned Taehee's story again. If Taehee knew everything, she definitely wouldn't be able to accept it. And in all relationships, love is the easiest to spoil. Sehyun continued to add that as time goes by, if you don't treat each other sincerely, any relationship will turn sour, whether it's friends, lovers, or family. At this time, Sehyun's father drove to Incheon because he was worried about Taehee's mother. Taehee's mother asked the other person why he still came to find her. Sehyun's father said he just wanted to see the person he loved one last time, then he turned around and left. Sehyun's father had an eye disease and hit a tree. Taehee's mother quickly took him to the hospital and contacted Sehyun. In the hospital, Taehee's mother guessed that the reason he came to see her after 2 years was because he had a serious illness. She thought this was punishment for the wrongdoings they had done before. Taehee's mother also told Sehyun that on the day Sehyun's mother came to see her, her daughter also had a traffic accident. Until now, the culprit has not been found. She believes that her daughter was punished in her place. She will continue to live with the mindset of making amends. After hearing Taehee's mother say that Jihyun suddenly wondered if Taehee was the daughter of the woman in front of her. On the other side, Suji went to see Taehee and told her that Sehyun's father's lover was her mother. And Sehyun's mother also died because met her mother on the way. Taehee now knows that the person who made Sehyun and his mother suffer is her mother. She remembers what she said to Sehyun before and feels very guilty. She feels even more guilty for the pain Sehyun has to endure. Taehee doesn't know how to face Sehyun. She doesn't even answer Sehyun's calls. Sehyun can't find Taehee, so he drives to the cafe where she works part-time, but he is informed that Taehee has finished work. Sehyun goes to the place where the three of them often gather to question Suji if she has known for a long time that the person his father is dating is Taehee's mother. Suji frankly admits and then confesses to Sehyun that she told Taehee everything. Sehyun breaks down again and again. From now on, the friendship between the two ends here. Suji is in a bad mood, so she goes to see Seju to complain. Seju suggested leaving the place where the three of them often went. He also hoped that Suji would consider him. He would try to pursue Suji, but Suji politely rejected Seju. She hoped that they could just be friends. Seju then tells Sehyun that the secret base is about to be closed. Sehyun calmly says that he doesn't care. After all, the three of them can't be the same as before. Seju tells Sehyun that Suji came to see him yesterday because she was worried, but Sehyun only cares about Taehee. Seju sincerely apologizes for Suji's mistake. Sehyun feels that this is just Suji's thinking, and so the two of them fight. Coincidentally, Ji-young is also there. He makes some sarcastic comments about Suji, resulting in Seju and Sehyun beating him up. Sehyun's father is suspected of having a brain tumor, so he calls Suji's mother and wants to make an appointment for a medical examination. Taehee sleeps overnight in the school's counseling room, and early in the morning, she makes a video call to her father. Coincidentally, Sehyun comes to school to find Taehee, so he gets caught on camera. Her father teases Taehee, wondering if she should introduce her boyfriend to him. Taehee quickly hung up the phone. Sehyun explained that he had just found out that Taehee's mother was dating his father, and he begged Taehee not to leave him like this. Taehee said that when she saw Sehyun, she would feel like a sinner, and she hoped that the two of them would never see each other again. In order to not have to face Sehyun every day, Taehee went home, packed her things, and left the apartment. After Taehee moved away, Sehyun wandered around alone, remembering the road they had walked together, waiting for the bus together. Every sweet moment made Sehyun feel lost. Sehyun's grandmother persuaded her grandson to go abroad with her. Facing her grandmother, who always cared for and loved him, Sehyun could not bear to lie and revealed that he was not biological son. Seon's grandmother could not believe it, so she immediately called Dr. Kim to check again. Suji's mother found out that Suji had secretly driven her car into the parking lot, so she lost her temper and told her daughter not to drive that car again. Suji asked mother if this car had ever been in an accident. Because she had Seju check it out, the car's details were fine, except for a dent on the front of the car. Hearing that Suji's mother seemed scared, Taehee's mother went to school to find her daughter. Taehee had a very cold attitude towards her mother. The mother didn't understand why daughter's attitude towards had changed so much. When the mother tried to ask more, Taehee revealed to mother that she was dating Sehyun. That was her ex-lover's son, and the pain he had to endure was all caused by mother. Taehee's mother didn't expect that her daughter would suffer such great pain because of her. Seju went to the three people's secret base. This place used to be a bustling place for them to play, but now it's no longer there. Thinking back to the time they played together, Seju felt very sad. Sehyun's father was hospitalized and checked. The results were not very positive, so surgery needed to be scheduled as soon as possible. Sehyun went to the hospital to visit his father and coincidentally saw Taehee applying for the Myeongjong scholarship. Finally, the two had a chance to talk. Sehyun often thought about the night Taehee came to the hospital to find him. That day, he found out that his mother was the victim, so he was extremely heartbroken. He thanked Taehee for being there to comfort him. Taehee was curious about how he knew. Before Sehyun told the truth, he asked the police and Suji's mother. Taehee wondered how Suji's mother knew that the person was a female student. The police would not reveal the information. Perhaps Suji's mother was also present at the time. Taehee called an aunt to ask about the specific situation when she had the accident. On the other side, Suji is listening to a recording of Sehyun's grandmother's conversation with her mother. After listening to half of it, she sent it to Sehyun, letting him listen to his grandmother's cruel words himself. But Sehyun was in no mood to listen, so he didn't click on Suji's voice message. At this moment, a patient fell down the stairs, and Suji's mother rushed over to check. Seeing Suji's mother giving first aid to patient, Taehee felt familiar. It seemed similar to the scene where she had a car accident. Taehee called Suji's mother, who was about to leave, and asked if you had met me before. Suji's mother seemed a little worried and invited Taehee to the office for tea. Suji's mother also denied that they had met before. Taehee talked about the day she had the accident. It turned out that day, Suji's mother had intentionally told Sehyun's sick mother that Sehyun's father had gone somewhere to find Taehee's mother. Sehyun's mother heard and hurriedly ran away, but unfortunately on the way she had a heart attack and coincidentally met Taehee leaving home. But Taehee did not bring her phone. She put her coat on Sehyun's mother and then went out to the street to stop the car to ask for help, but was hit by Suji's mother's car. When Suji's heard Sehyun's mother was not far away, she promised Taehee that she would come back right away and drove away. But Suji's mother did not come to save Taehee. Taehee was only discovered unconscious on the side of the road a long time later. The psychological shadow haunted Taehee for a long time. She could not even walk normally. Now Taehee is finally sure that the person involved was Suji's mother. Taehee criticized Suji's mother for abandoning her in the past. Now they should not lie to Sehyun that his mother was the one who caused the accident. Suji's mother justified that she was in a hurry to save people and forgot, even shirking responsibility and claiming that Taehee's mother was the one who caused this tragedy. Taehee ignored Suji's mother's excuse and warned her to sincerely repent to everyone and then tell the truth. Taehee then left the office. Suji went to find her mother and saw her mother crying, so she thought that Taehee had done something to her mother. On the other side, Taehee found Sehyun and told him that the person who ran away that day was Suji's mother. Taehee was worried that Sehyun would be agitated, but Sehyun was worried that Taehee would remember the horrible past again. Sehyun told Taehee to call the police. Taehee said that she didn't want to go back to the matter because it all started because of her mother. Sehyun comforted Taehee that this was an adult matter. They couldn't do anything. All they could do was take control of their own lives. After so many years, Taehee was able to escape the haunting shadow. Sehyun took Taehee home and met Suji in the parking lot. Suji asked Taehee, "What you said to my mother that hurt her so much?" Taehee told Suji to go back and ask your mother yourself. Sehyun rushed to rescue Taehee. Suji fell into a frenzy and wanted to stab the two of them. Luckily, she was able to stop at the last second. Sehyun was so angry that he wanted to stand up and argue with Suji, but Taehee pulled him away. At this moment, the way Sehyun looked at Suji was no longer love and care, but hatred and impatience. Suji clearly liked Sehyun, but the more she did, the more she pushed him away. Seju packed up things in the secret base and called Suji. Suji. Suji's crying rang out over the phone. Seju was worried, so he rushed to take her back to the base. Suji sadly told Seju to leave first. She also asked if Seju would abandon her. Seju firmly said that he would always be by her side. When got home, Seon started listening to the recording Suji sent him, and he heard what his grandmother said. Seon suspected that Suji's mother was hiding something from him, so he immediately ran to find her to ask her clearly. It was clear that she had told his mother Taehee's mother's address, and even bumped into Taehee on the way. Suji's mother justified that at that time, she only wanted to remind Sehyun's mother to pay attention to Taehee's mother's existence, so she accidentally told her the address. She did not expect that this would harm Sehyun's mother. Sehyun hoped that Suji's mother could sincerely apologize and that he would not tell his father and Suji, because he was worried that they would be agitated. But coincidentally, Suji was outside, so she heard the whole conversation between the two and learned the truth. Suji was in pain, becoming more and more depressed. At night, she had to rely on medicine to sleep. Only Seju was the one who always cared about Suji. After asking someone to retest, Seon's grandmother got the result that Sehyun was her biological grandson. Seon finally found out and untied the knot in his heart that had been in his heart for so long. Sehyun guessed that his mother had deliberately said that he was not his biological son to break his father's heart. After going through all this, Sehyun promised to study abroad. The inheritance of the company should be left to someone more capable. He also asked Secretary Jun to help him pay attention to issues related to studying abroad. After confirming the father-son relationship, Sehyun went to the hospital to visit his father and said that he would soon go abroad with grandmother. He would find something he was interested in again. This time, his father did not blame Sehyun anymore. In this life, he had never been able to choose for himself, whether it was career or love. This conversation had greatly eased the relationship between father and son. After arranging everything, Sehyun went to school to find Taehee. No matter what Taehee does, he will always follow her like the first time he pursued Taehee. Taehee asked Seon what he wanted to do. Seon asked Taehee to go back to the other apartment. Suji happened to see the two of them, so she quietly turned around and left. Taehee thought for a long time and finally decided to move to the opposite side of Seon's house. Sehyun was very happy when he saw Taehee coming back through the surveillance camera at the door. Suji helped Hyejung and Ju-hwan go on a date, but accidentally met Gi-young. Seeing the bartender Ju-hwan there, Gi-young blamed Suji for behaving inappropriately. Don't bring the naive Hyejung to such a place in the future. Hyejung was very angry and told Gi-young not to judge other people's boyfriends so casually. Then she dragged Ju-hwan away. Gi-young visited Hyejung's house and deliberately caused trouble with Hyejung's brother. Hyejung was very angry, so she struggled with Gi-young. In anger, Ji-young told Hyejung that she had a boyfriend. Hyejung's mother was very surprised when she heard it. After that, she locked Hyejung in the house and didn't let Hyejung go out anymore. Hyejung was angry and wanted to leave home. Taehee's father came to school to visit his daughter. He knew that because of his marriage problems, Taehee didn't have faith in love. So Taehee's father encouraged his daughter to be brave in love. After hearing what father said, Taehee was very touched. Sehyun was about to leave, so he asked Taehee to give him a day to date. Taehee agreed. Sehyun prepared a wreath and a bouquet of flowers for Taehee. He also took many pictures with her. The date between the two was sweet and warm, as if returning to the days before they broke up. When it was time for dinner to make Taehee happy, Sehyun deliberately chose a restaurant that only accepted one table. Taehee was very touched by Sehyun's heart. Sehyun wanted to confess everything to Taehee, so he wrote what he wanted to say in the portrait sketchbook for Taehee. He wanted to find the right time to give it to Taehee, hoping for her forgiveness. On the other side, Suji told her mother that she wanted to study abroad, but she found out that Sehyun was also going to study abroad. Suji listlessly told Seju about this. He also felt heartbroken because the friendship of the three of them broke up. He didn't think the three of them would break up like this. Seeing Suji lost her way like this, Seju promised to restore everything to its original state. Seju told Sehyun that when Suji talked about Sehyun now, her eyes were full of sadness. He also tried to convince Sehyun to go back to being friends like before. Sehyun said that his heart had already fallen in love with Taehee and he wouldn't go back to the past. Seeing Sehyun so determined, Seju decided to tell Taehee all his plans. Seju contacted Taehee and said he wanted to tell her a secret. Taehee went to meet Seju at the secret base at midnight. Seju showed her the information about her that the three of them had collected, as well as the video of them discussing how to create a surprise meeting with her. It turned out out that Sejuu had already filmed everything before their game plan began. He had no intention of releasing it at first, but Sejuu changed his mind because of Sehyun. He wanted to stand up and protect Suji. Sejuu showed Tae-hee all the evidence. Seeing that she was being made fun of, Tae-hee felt insulted. After learning the truth, Tae-hee was extremely shocked. She left the place with mixed emotions. The building's security guard thought Tae-hee was feeling unwell, so he went to help. Coincidentally, Sehyun called at this time. The building's security guard told him the situation, so Sehyun hurriedly drove over. When he learned that Tae-hee knew everything, he cried and begged her to give him a chance to explain. Tae-hee was deceived and no longer wanted to believe it. She firmly cut off her ties with Sehyun. She hoped that the two of them would never meet again. Sehyun collapsed and angrily went to Sejuu to vent his anger. He didn't understand why Sejuu did that. It was clear that Sehyun decided to confess everything to Tae-hee to ask for forgiveness, but now even this opportunity was taken away by Sejuu. Sehyun wanted to kill Sejuu, but remembering the past, he couldn't bring himself to do it. He had to vent his anger on a photo of the three of them together. Sehyun's hand was injured, so he went to the hospital to get it bandaged. Suji's mother took him in and reassured him not to worry about his father's condition. She would assign the best doctor to operate on his father. Sehyun gradually felt relieved and took him father to the operating room. Tae-hee was sad, so she unconsciously walked to the bus stop where she first met Sehyun. Remembering the sweet past and the cruel reality, Tae-hee couldn't help but cry. Tae-hee helplessly went to her mother's studio. Her mother didn't understand why and was very worried about her. Tae-hee rested on the sofa. Ever since she came to Seoul, bad things had always happened. She was depressed and wanted to return to Germany with her father. On the other side, Sejuu told Suji what had happened. Suji didn't want Sejuu to cause trouble with Sehyun, so she suggested that Sejuu blame her for this. Just pretend that she had thought of it. At this time, Haejung had nowhere else to go, so she called Suji for help. Out of options, Suji could only arrange for Haejung to live in the secret base of the three of them. Haejung's mother went crazy because she couldn't find her daughter. Ji-young took the opportunity to run over to comfort Haejung's mother. Suji went to the hospital to visit Sehyun, who had injured hand. She took full responsibility and said that she was the one who told Sejuu to tell Tae-hee the truth. Sehyun didn't blame her because from the beginning they wanted to tease Tae-hee, and he himself had the same purpose, so he had no right to criticize anyone, but he hoped that he would never see Suji again. Suji valued friendship the most, but she was about to lose her best friend. If she had known that the friendship between the three of them would break up, if she had known that Sehyun would fall in love with Tae-hee, she would not have suggested playing this game. But unfortunately, life has no ifs. Tae-hee's father received the notice, so he came to pick up his daughter and returned to Germany. After arriving, he naturally greeted Tae-hee's mother. Tae-hee didn't understand why her father could calmly face her mother, even though he was hurt by her mother. Tae-hee's father believed that the human heart could not be controlled. Unrequited love was also a kind of happiness. He didn't want to hide his feelings. Tae-hee was lost in thought after hearing her father's words. Gi-young found out where Haejung was hiding. Haejung's mother couldn't find her daughter anywhere, so she was extremely confused. Seeing Gi-young wanting to fight with her son and remembering what Haejung had said before to break off the engagement, she started to get angry and scolded Ji-young and said she would break off the engagement. And Suji finally came to her senses. She met Tae-hee to apologize. Actually, Suji was also very jealous of Tae-hee because she could see clearly into her heart. Before that, Suji never realized that she really liked Sehyun. Tae-hee decided to leave Korea. She never appeared in front of Sehyun again. The Myeongjong group was previously investigated for bribing members of the National Assembly, and Suji's mother would also be investigated as an insider. People from the prosecutor's office rushed into Myeongjong Hospital to find more information. Suji was very worried about her mother, but her mother comforted her that it was okay. Her mother told her to go home and wait. Sejuu immediately appeared in front of Suji when he received the news. He was devoted to Suji, but the one who was hurt the most was himself. Ji-young went home and told his father about the cancellation of the engagement. He also complained that Haejung's family was not normal. As a result, he was scolded by his father, who ordered him to go to Haejung's house to ask for forgiveness. Gi-young had no choice but to go to Haejung's house again. Ji-young told Haejung's brother that he knew where Haejung was hiding and asked the brother to go find her together. Ji-young took Sejuu and Haejung to their secret base. Haejung was having dinner with Ju-hwan at the time. Ju-hwan convinced Haejung to come home tomorrow. Haejung obediently obeyed. Hearing a knock on the door, Ju-hwan went to open it. As soon as the door opened, Seju's brother hit Ju-hwan with a golf club. Haejung's brother was worried that Ju-hwan was too badly injured, so he wanted to take Ju-hwan to the hospital, but was refused by Gi-young. In a panic, Haejung's brother knocked over the board, with the three of them planning to approach Tae-hee. Ji-young saw this and immediately understood the other's plan. Seju received the notification and immediately appeared. As soon as entered, he was controlled by his brother. Gi-young took Seju's phone and called Sehyun, successfully luring Sehyun over. In order to get revenge on Sehyun, Gi-young told everyone to leave first and he would stay and deal with Sehyun. After leaving, Haejung called tutor Tae-hee and told her everything. Gi-young wanted to tell Tae-hee everything he saw. Sehyun didn't want Tae-hee to get hurt again, so she tried her best to stop him. A few people started fighting, and at this time, Tae-hee called Gi-young. Hearing a loud noise, Tae-hee rushed over. Tae-hee wanted to stop the others from using violence and said she would call the police. Gi-young stepped forward and grabbed Tae-hee's phone. At this moment, Sehyun rushed over to protect Tae-hee but was beaten unconscious by Gi-young. Tae-hee quickly took Sehyun to the hospital. Seeing Sehyun unconscious, Tae-hee was very worried. Although Sehyun was given emergency care in time, he was in a coma due to severe injuries. Tae-hee was always by Sehyun's side. Gi-young went to find Suji and said that he knew all of their plans. He also mocked Suji by filming Sehyun and Seju being beaten and showed it to her. Suji contacted Seju and learned how they were beaten. Seeing Seju injured and Sehyun still in a coma, Suji was heartbroken. After so much abuse, Suji became more and more dependent on sleeping pills. Suji's mother was released and returned home after being investigated. When got home, she found Suji lying on the floor because had taken too much medicine, causing Suji to hallucinate and get injured. Suji's mother quickly took daughter to the hospital. Fortunately, the injury was not serious, so it would not affect Suji's ability to continue playing the cello. Seju cried heartbrokenly. In the end, Seju decided to quietly leave and stay away from all these scandals to live a peaceful and free life and no longer pretend every day. After Suji found out that Seju had left, she missed him and prayed that no matter where Seju was, he would not feel lonely. Tae-hee submitted a leave of absence to the school, planning to wait until Sehyun recovered before returning to Germany with her father. During this time, Tae-hee took care of Sehyun. She went to Sehyun's house to pack her things to bring to the hospital and accidentally discovered Sehyun's confession diary written for her. At Sehyun's bedside, Tae-hee opened the book and started reading. Tae-hee finally understood that Sehyun had liked her from the beginning. Sehyun's father's surgery was successful. Sehyun's grandmother told him that Sehyun was indeed his biological son. That year, Sehyun's mother wanted to take revenge on her husband for always loving someone else, so she forged the test results. After knowing the truth, Sehyun's father felt very regretful and cried helplessly beside his son's hospital bed. On the other side, Gi-young had offended many families and affected the business of his family's law firm. Haejung's mother understood her daughter through this incident and said that she would not force Haejung anymore. The mother told Haejung to do what she liked. More than half a month had passed when Sehyun finally woke up. Tae-hee finally breathed a sigh of relief. She asked Kyungju to help her give flowers to Sehyun. Now that Sehyun had woken up, the two of them did not need to see each other. Kyungju told Sehyun that while he was in a coma, Tae-hee was with him every day. Sehyun cried. He did not chase Tae-hee, who was going abroad. He did so because he wanted to give each other some time to digest the bad memories. 5 years later, Tae-hee had completed her studies well. She returned to Korea and became an architect. She worked overtime with high spirits every day. Tae-hee's mother was preparing to hold another exhibition. The relationship between mother and daughter had also softened a lot. Suji focused on playing the cello. Suji's mother left the hospital and always accompanied her daughter. Secretary Jun came to find her to invite her to continue working. Suji's mother said that she really liked her current life. She wanted to spend more time with her daughter. One day, Suji received a bouquet of flowers from an anonymous person with an address inside. Suji followed the address and found out that it was a restaurant opened by Seju in Japan. Finally, she met Seju. Suji ran to hug him. It turned out that Sehyun had told Suji Seju's address. On the other side, Tae-hee complained to her colleagues that she had met a difficult client. They had sent her an email early in the morning to discuss the matter. Her colleagues asked Tae-hee to go there in person. Tae-hee went to the client's house at the appointed time. She saw the pictures hanging on the wall were all the places where she had dated Sehyun. Tae-hee went up to the second floor. The person waiting for her was Sehyun. After so many years, the two finally met again. At the end of the movie, Tae-hee hugged Sehyun tightly. The two people who had gone through a series of ups and downs were finally able to be together. The movie ended here. If you find it interesting, please give us a like. And now it's goodbye, and see you again in the next videos.